Imagine a delicate peace teetering on the brink in Gaza, where hopes for healing hang by the slenderest of threads. But now, shocking claims of an impending betrayal could unravel it all. This isn't just another headline. It's a tense standoff that demands our attention, especially as fresh accusations fly about potential attacks that could reignite chaos. But here's where it gets controversial. The U.S. is pointing fingers at Hamas, claiming they're gearing up for something drastic. Let's dive into the details together, breaking it down step by step so everyone can follow along, no matter how complex the politics seem. The U.S. State Department has come out with what they describe as credible intelligence indicating that Hamas is preparing an imminent assault targeting civilians right there in Gaza. According to their official statement issued on Saturday, such an action would directly contravene the current ceasefire pact, posing a direct and grave threat to the hard-won stability achieved through painstaking negotiations. They haven't spilled the beans on specifics, like what exactly these reports entail or their sources, leaving us to wonder about the underpinnings of this serious allegation. To grasp why this matters, think of a ceasefire as a mutual agreement to stop fighting, like two sides in a heated argument agreeing to put down their fists and talk it out. In this case, the first stage of the deal between Hamas and Israel is already underway, with all living hostages having been freed, and the bodies of those who didn't survive still in the process of being handed back to Israel. As part of this exchange, Israel released 250 Palestinian detainees from its prisons, while Hamas let go of 1,718 individuals held in Gaza. It's a fragile balance, designed to build trust, but these new claims threaten to blow it apart. Washington hasn't kept this quiet. They've looped in the other key players guaranteeing the Gaza peace accord, namely Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey, and urged Hamas to stick to their commitments. The statement warns bluntly that if Hamas goes ahead with any such strike, measures will be taken to protect the people of Gaza and preserve the integrity of the ceasefire. You can check out the full details in their release here. https://state.gov/releases/office of the spokesperson/2025/planned attack by Hamas. So far, Hamas hasn't responded publicly, leaving the air thick with unanswered questions. President Donald Trump, never one to mince words, has weighed in sharply on this. He cautioned Hamas against harming civilians, tweeting on Truth Social just days ago, "If Hamas continues to kill people in Gaza, which was not the deal, we will have no choice but to go in and kill them." He quickly added that this wouldn't mean deploying U.S. troops into Gaza, clarifying his stance to avoid any confusion. It's a reminder of how high the stakes are, with leaders like Trump staking their reputations on enforcing the rules. And this is the part most people miss, the darker underbelly of what's unfolding. Last week, BBC Verify confirmed the authenticity of disturbing videos depicting a public execution in Gaza, carried out by armed men who lined up 8 individuals with their hands bound, executing them in a bustling public square. While the gunmen were masked and their exact identities unconfirmed, some sported the green headbands often linked to Hamas. This kind of violence raises eyebrows about accountability, and whether such acts align with the spirit of peace. It's a stark example of how even under a truce, shadows of brutality can persist, prompting us to question, who truly benefits from enforcing a ceasefire when atrocities like this surface? Meanwhile, on Saturday, but here's where it gets really divisive. Separately that same day, tragedy struck a Palestinian family when 11 members were killed by an Israeli tank shell, as reported by the Hamas-run Civil Defense Ministry. This marked the most lethal single event involving Israeli forces in Gaza since the ceasefire kicked in. The Israeli military countered that their troops fired on a suspicious vehicle that had allegedly breached the informal Yellow Line, an unmarked boundary defining areas still under Israeli control in Gaza. Without physical signs, it's anyone's guess whether the bus actually crossed it, and the BBC has sought clarification from the IDF on the exact coordinates. This incident sparks fierce debate. Was it a necessary defensive action, or a preventable mistake that undermines the truce? And how do we weigh the human cost against security concerns? Zooming out for context, Israel's military operation in Gaza began in response to the horrific October 7, 2023, assault by Hamas-led militants, which claimed around 1,200 lives in southern Israel and saw 2,500 people abducted as hostages. Since then, the Hamas-administered health ministry reports at least 68,000 Palestinians have perished from Israeli strikes, figures the United Nations deems trustworthy. To put that in perspective, that's like losing an entire city's population, a staggering toll that highlights the devastation of prolonged conflict. Adding fuel to the fire, a UN Commission of Inquiry in September accused Israel of committing genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. https www.bbc.co.uk/A641WVN a claim Israel vehemently denies as distorted and false. This is pure controversy. Does labeling it genocide cross into hyperbole? Or is it a valid call for justice? It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about international law, accountability, and who gets to define war crimes. In wrapping this up, we're left with a powder keg of tensions, accusations, tragedies, and a ceasefire that's more fragile than ever. Do you side with the U.S. on Hamas's alleged plans? Or do you think there's more to the story? Should the UN's genocide findings hold more weight? Or is Israel's rejection spot on? And what about incidents like the tank shell strike? Preventable accident or inevitable in a war zone? Share your thoughts below. Let's discuss openly and respectfully. Your insights could shed light on this complex situation.